Mauricio's airport photos have Boz doubting Kyle. Bozoma St. John bonded with Kyle Richards about seeing their estranged spouses move on during season 14, episode 15 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but she wishes the original diamond holder would be more honest about her situation. As Bozoma explained on the show, when she learned that her husband, Peter St. John, was terminally ill with cancer, she told his then-girlfriend to get lost. Kyle, however, has yet to express any similar feelings even after she saw her estranged husband, Mauricio Umansky, be photographed kissing a woman at an airport in Greece. Part of the reason why I could identify with what Kyle was feeling about seeing the picture of Mao with that woman is I had felt very similar feelings of seeing my late husband with his new girlfriend. Boz explained on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show about her emotional conversation with Kyle. By the way, which I approved of. I told him to go do that, and then he did, and I was like, wait. No, I don't like this at all. While Boz understood that it was hypocritical of her to be upset that her ex had moved on, she was being authentic to her feelings. But the thing is, you could be honest about those things. Like, at least for me in that moment, I went to him, and I told him, I don't like this, and I need you to get rid of her. And I know it was unfair because I had been the one to say, hey, go get a girlfriend. We both need to move on, she continued. And then he started moving on, and I was like, wait, hold on. I moved on too, but I don't like you moving on. And you know what? It is a double standard. Was it fair? No, but it was my truth, so I had to admit that to him. The former Netflix CMO thinks that Kyle could take a page or two out of her own book. For Kyle, I feel like that is where she needs to be. She might be like, hey, look, it's okay for me to do my little things over here, but I don't like you doing your little things. If that's how she feels about it, just go ahead and be honest and say that, Boz continued. But instead you want to say, it's fine and he should do his thing, and I should do my thing because you're mad. So just be honest. Bozoma St. John explains why she reconciled with her husband before he died. Boz and Peter were separated when he was diagnosed with Burkitt's lymphoma in 2013. When she found out that Peter only had a few weeks to live, she wanted to get back together. I knew that I had such little time that I was unwilling to share it with anybody else, she said on the RHOBH after show. I am not apologetic about that at all. It doesn't matter to me that we were separated. It doesn't matter to me that I had told him that we should see other people. I don't care. When I knew that the time was short, I was like, you're mine, and that is it. And she needs to go, and I was okay saying that. Bozoma said that the spouses had a great final few weeks together. It was great for us, and especially knowing that we didn't have time. There was no time for bulls. There was no time for lies. And I wish that we all looked at life that way, actually, she said. It's not a morbid thing to be thinking that. It's like if you knew that something was going to happen to your partner, the person you love, would you still behave the way that you're behaving now? Peter passed away in December 2013, about 6 weeks after he learned that his cancer was terminal. Mauricio's airport photos have Boz doubting Kyle. In the jet-set world of Beverly Hills, where private planes and red carpets are as common as daily coffee runs, relationships often spiral in the public eye. The endless scrutiny and media presence can turn even the most personal of experiences into a spectacle. For Bozoma St. John, a powerful executive, and Kyle Richards, a longtime fixture of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the trials of love and loss became entwined in a shared understanding of what it means to witness your partner move on, even when you're not quite ready to let go. Their bond, deepened through heartbreak, was tested in Season 14, Episode 15 of the hit reality series, especially when a photograph of Kyle's estranged husband, Mauricio Umansky, kissing a woman at an airport in Greece, sparked an emotional moment of reflection. Boz, ever the candid force of nature, was open about her own complicated journey through the throes of love and loss. Having been married to Peter St. John, a man who was diagnosed with terminal cancer, she shared how her perspective on relationships had shifted once she had a limited time left with her husband. What struck a chord with Kyle was not just Ba's ability to process her emotions with brutal honesty, but the raw vulnerability in her words. Kyle, who was still navigating the process of separation from Mauricio, couldn't help but feel a sense of doubt creeping into her thoughts. It wasn't until the cameras were rolling on the Real Housewives set that the weight of the situation truly hit Baz. Her marriage had crumbled under the weight of unspoken truths, and her reconciliation with Peter before his death was an emotional journey of its own. She had learned the hard way that when facing mortality, there was no room for games, no space for hiding behind the facades that often kept people from truly living their truth. Peter's illness forced Baz to be real with herself, with him, and with the fleeting nature of time. As she explained to the group, when Peter's condition became dire, she was no longer willing to share him with anyone else, even though they had been separated for some time. I knew that I had such little time that I was unwilling to share it with anybody else, Baz said. I am not apologetic about that at all. It wasn't about reclaiming a marriage that had been broken, but about confronting the reality of life's fragility. She pushed aside any remnants of pride, knowing that whatever time they had left together had to be spent in its fullest, most authentic form. For Baz, there was no room for regret. When she looked at her late husband's final moments, she saw the beauty of reconciliation, of finding clarity in the midst of chaos. It was great for us, and especially knowing that we didn't have time. There was no time for bulls, ***. There was no time for lies, she reflected. I wish that we all looked at life that way, actually. Her words, tinged with wisdom and pain, were meant to guide Kyle through her own emotional turmoil. But Kyle, who had been observing her estranged husband's behavior from a distance, found herself grappling with something deeper than just hurt feelings. Kyle had seen the pictures, the ones that captured Mauricio sharing a kiss with another woman at an airport in Greece. The photos were not just snapshots of an ex-husband moving on. They were an image of betrayal, of something Kyle wasn't ready to face. Kyle's emotions were a mix of confusion and disbelief. Mauricio, who had been her partner for over 2 decades, the father of her children, had now become a figure of scandal. In her mind, she couldn't reconcile the man she knew with the one in those photographs. The juxtaposition of Mauricio's carefree kiss and Kyle's quietly simmering emotions was something that made her feel both betrayed and helpless. Yet, like Baz, Kyle had spent years building walls around her heart, walls that now seemed to crumble beneath the weight of a single, very public kiss. I understand what you're going through, Baz told Kyle during a pivotal conversation on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show. Part of the reason why I could identify with what Kyle was feeling about seeing the picture of Mao with that woman is I had felt very similar feelings of seeing my late husband with his new girlfriend. But Baz wasn't just commiserating with Kyle. She was offering a perspective that she herself had fought to understand. In her own marriage, she had asked Peter to move on before his death, giving him permission to find someone else when she thought their time together was nearing its end. Yet when Peter did exactly that, Baz found herself feeling a pang of jealousy, a feeling she had never expected to experience. But the thing is, you can be honest about those things, Baz continued. Like, at least for me in that moment, I went to him and I told him, I don't like this, and I need you to get rid of her. And I know it was unfair because I had been the one to say, hey, go get a girlfriend. We both need to move on. The hypocrisy of her feelings didn't escape Baz, but it was her truth. It's a double standard. Was it fair? No, but it was my truth, so I had to admit that to him. It was a lesson that Kyle struggled to embrace. She had watched Mauricio slip away, not just emotionally, but physically, into the arms of another woman. But like Baz, Kyle had kept her emotions locked away for the sake of maintaining some sense of order. The notion of honesty, of confronting the uncomfortable truths about her feelings, was a struggle that Kyle wasn't ready to face just yet. Boz was convinced that Kyle needed to find a way to speak her truth, just as she had done with Peter in their final days together. It wasn't about being right or wrong, fair or unfair. It was about being authentic. For Kyle, I feel like that is where she needs to be. She might be like, hey, look, it's okay for me to do my little things over here, but I don't like you doing your little things. If that's how she feels about it, just go ahead and be honest and say that.